Hey guys, Jay Johnson here, Transgender Support. Today I'd like to talk a little bit more about my own experience with taking hormones in a way to start further dialogue or promote questions that you might have about taking hormones. Last week I wanted to talk more about my own experience with going through therapy, and this week I want to do more of a focus on my own experience with anticipating taking the hormones and then what it's actually like, okay? And anything else that comes to mind while we're talking about it. So the first thing I want to mention is just tying back into one of the first topics I said in one of my first videos, which is I know as a trans person that the idea of getting those first hormones can feel like the most awesome drug. It can be so exciting to think about, oh my gosh, I finally have them. But a common theme I'm going to continue to stress to people is always be careful, go through the steps and push forward, right? Push forward. Don't let people stop you. However, take time to always make sure you're taking care of your mind, your body, etc. Okay? And the reason I say that is because what we know is that when one starts taking hormones, either testosterone or estrogen or other different combinations of things, the body can be very affected. And sometimes one's mind as well, mentally. So you just want to be very careful about some things. Now, first is I want to talk about how does one take the hormones? And I'm going to speak specifically about trans women and the trans female experience because that's what I know. So when talking to my doctors about it, they explained to me, and I think everywhere online says the same, that there are really the three main ways of taking the hormones, okay? And I should say specifically estrogen, because we're going to talk about something else in a moment. 3 ways to take estrogen. The first is to take it by like medication pill, like you take anything else, take your pill, so take it orally. A second way is to take it with like a shot that's administered to you. I don't know why I just did that. The third is through topical patches that you can put on your skin that last about a week, and then you change them. So I'm not going to get into the pros and cons about which is the best because there's no one answer. It depends on each person. You should talk to your doctor, your endocrinologist about that. I will say, just to share my story, I personally have been doing the estrogen patches, the topical, and my decision for that, again, maybe won't be right for you, is the idea of the injection didn't seem as convenient for me to have to return somewhere to do it. And then I started kind of creating this story in my head. What if it's like one of those things you do at home? Will I be able to do it to myself? And there were more questions, and I just said, well, what are the other options? So then I looked at the pills taken orally, which again is best for a lot of people. For me, from some of the side effects we'll talk about in a second, I said, well, that seems like it's one more thing that by the nature of taking it orally is going to be processing through the liver, and just one more thing I didn't want to have to worry about as far as processing through the system in that way. So I said, let me try the patches. And I asked my endocrinologist, does she think the efficacy of those patches, meaning how well they work, will be as strong as the other two? And she said, yes, research has shown that, but we need to start you on them. And then you continue to check in. Remember I talked about check in before, to see if you are at goal, meaning if your estrogen levels are at your new goal, right? So that's what's worked for me. Now, I mentioned a moment ago about side effects, and the side effects, could be varied. You can find them online. They could be anything from weight gain, weight loss, nausea, some people feeling maybe a little bit, kind of dizzy or disoriented. There's a lot of things that could be happening because, in fact, they're hormones, right? And we know that even the hormones that our body produces naturally as we grow up they're very strong, right? And they can have strong effects on us. Think about going through puberty or things like that. So when you're introducing more hormones, additional hormones, you want to take special care that you're letting your body tell you how's it reacting to things. And that's why finding a really good endocrinologist who specializes in that will be crucial from the beginning, because you'll have those opportunities to continue to check in and not only see, are you at goal, but also how's your general health? How's your body responding? This is so important. Take care of yourself, number one, okay? So that's as far as some potential side effects. My story, I will tell you, I'm pleased to say I had no negative effects that I noticed. Maybe that was luck. Maybe that was just the off chance that my body happened to do well with them, where some people don't. I was very, how do I say, deliberate about staying in contact with my endocrinologist, not more than, she prescribed, but, every appointment I was there, I had my questions ready. I looked at the results that came back in my MyChart, all of those things. So advocate for yourself, take care of yourself, but also work with the people who are experts at these things. So I had only positive experience since I've started. And of course, I'm still on them, because that brings me to my next topic for trans women. I'll stick to trans women. People say, well, how long do I have to take them? The answer is really for the rest of your life, right? If you want to maintain your estrogen level at goal. Now, one thing that I should mention that is very common for trans women is, in addition to the estrogen that you're introducing to the body, you will oftentimes also be given something that will help or aid to reduce the testosterone that your body is producing, okay? So when you start with your hormones, you will have something to introduce more estrogen to bring that level up, and to counter and take the testosterone down. So when you're checking in at the beginning with your doctor and checking if you're at goal, those are the two things. Is the estrogen I'm taking bringing me up to what I want? And is the anti-testosterone taking that down enough? So that's the second thing that you'll have to take. Now, if I remember correctly, when I was having that conversation with my doctor, the only way for the anti-testosterone was orally. So I did take that orally. Now, you'll notice I'm using past tense. And the reason for that is because oftentimes when a trans female has bottom surgery or a vaginoplasty, removal of the testes, that in itself will allow for your body to stop creating that level of testosterone that you used to, because you no longer have your testes. So for me, I had my bottom surgery, which I'll talk about in future videos. That was last May 2023. And since I had that, it was great for so many reasons I'll talk about in a different video. But, and again, that's not for everyone's journey. For me, it was, and I loved it. But one of the things that was nice was, having removed the testes, I went to check in with my endocrinologist, and I was no longer producing that level of testosterone. So I was able to immediately stop taking the anti-testosterone. So, and the anti-testosterone, the pills, they weren't a problem, they weren't difficult, but it's just nice to have one less thing to take. So that's what my story was. That's what my journey has been. But this is something that's so important. One, I always try to go back to previous videos. Don't feel pressure that you have to take hormones at all. You decide what's right for your journey. But if you decide that you do want to take them, do it with care, do it with research, do it with questions, and make sure you're taking care of yourself mentally, emotionally, physically. And with that, I will leave you for the day and tell you, happy journey.